Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip committee meeting. Today is September 28th, 2020. We'll call this meeting order at 7:30. Can we call the roll, please?
Yes. Please note for anybody in the audience to please silence your cell phones. Trustee Delzell?
Here.
Trustee Zielinski?
Here.
Trustee Juarez? Here. Trustee McLaughlin?
Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Nava Esparza? Here. Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Officers' reports, starting with mine. A couple things. Today, I always have the pleasure of speaking with a lot of the kids in our community, the schools. Today I met with the Zoom conference, actually, with about 40 kids from the second grade at Lane School across the street. The two teachers had me on, and I enjoy that every year, as far as telling the kids what's in, they want to ask. I've got a list of, 15 questions, and I really do enjoy speaking with the kids and getting their take on things, and they want to know very simple things in life. How do you become a mayor? What do we do all day in my office? Do I like my job? What are we doing about the coronavirus? And any new restaurants or fun stuff for them to do, of course, And you always like the last one here all the time, too. What's your favorite vegetable? And it's like, I'm sticking with asparagus and Brussels sprouts all the time. Good stuff. And favorite cereal, and of course my favorite ice cream. You can't go wrong with chocolate chip. So those kids, they're a very, very special group. And the other thing we got to promote at the same time was our Village of Alsip 3 event day, where we told all the kids we certainly wouldn't expect them to come out by themselves if their parents would like to participate. And my assistant, Becky Smith, we sent this to all the schools. Excellent. Please keep in mind, next Saturday, everybody, we have a 3-event day here at the village-wide. We're going to have a cleanup day that starts at 10 a.m. in the morning, just for like 10 till noon. If you want to stop at the village hall here out in the parking lot, we can assign you, we can give you some gloves to wear and some garbage bags and assign you an area to clean up that we're going to identify that needs a little bit of attention. If you'd like to just stop and participate in the shredding event, we're going to be taking shredded items as well as e-waste. So you can actually drop off 2 TVs per family or 2 banker boxes of shredding materials per family then too. Cell phones, whatever, DVD players, printers, video cassette recorders, whatever you have, they'll take. And again, we want to thank the Alsip Marina Park Library and the Chamber of Commerce for helping us sponsor this event. They're going to be out there as well, and we've got some volunteers that can help us. So please stop by if you wish, or if you'd like to just help us clean up the community for about 2 hours, that'd be great as well. And then I kept this, I always like this notice that we get. We're going to put this out in our newsletter coming up in the next week or two. Probably in about 2 weeks, Becky, is our next newsletter. Hopefully, we're still waiting on before Halloween. Tentatively, yes, we are having, we are going to have Halloween in our community on that Saturday, the 31st. And Chief Miller and I talked about it, and Chief Szynski as well, too. We're good with from 1 till 6. We're going to have more of an afternoon event, right? Okay. I'm good with that, Chief. I like that 1 to 6. And I did throw that out to just people calling in, let's put it that way, and everybody liked the idea of an afternoon event. And we actually did participate in a survey done by the Southwest Conference of Mayors, and all the communities are like 2 till 8 or whatever the case may be, but right now we're at 1 till 6 on Saturday the 31st. First on your agenda this evening, last thing too, actually today and last week, I don't want to say the names of these companies yet, but I've met with 2 major takeout food establishments, and one's got plans to remodel one of their Alsip locations, and the other is going to possibly tear down a location to bring in a major fast food chain maybe coming to our village real soon. First on your agendas, I had request to amend the number of Class C liquor licenses from 3 to 4, and designated to the newly built 7-Eleven store that's almost done at 4000 West 127th Street. We did get a change from them. Originally, they wanted to offer video gaming at that location, which was going to be owned by a franchisor, and it turns out the corporate now wants the store instead, and corporate didn't want any additional liabilities at that store. If anybody, you don't have to have a drink or a cocktail, but you have to offer it for video gaming. So they're not going to have video gaming at this time at that location. So it's just going to be a retail liquor sales like most establishments. And a request to create an FG liquor license for the Shell gas station at 12249 South Cicero Avenue as the new add-on construction is contingent on its approval. So in other words, we actually put together a real good footprint so that gas stations wouldn't give up their retail presence, and you need at least 800 square feet, right, Roger, to have video gaming in your store. This particular Shell gas station isn't big enough to have video gaming, so they're actually going to remodel the store to accommodate it, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And, which is fine. I mean, not to mention, it's going to give that store a new look, or that gas station a new look and stuff then, too. So, but before they go in, get a architect and all that kind of stuff, they would like to know if we would at least create a liquor license for them, and if we will, we can vote on it next week at the board meeting, then they're going to move forward with construction plans then, too. And again, they have to buy an FG liquor license, which is $7,500. Even though they have a, do they sell liquor there now, Roger? No?
Yes.
They do. So they still have to buy a new license. We don't prorate it or anything like that.
Correct.
You have to buy a, FG is food and gas, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So anyway, should the board wish to approve, that's the reason, that's the reason why. Okay. And that's all I had. We have the clerk's report?
No report tonight, Mayor Ryan.
You know what, I'm going to move the public forum back a little bit, because I want to get a little more information in here, so we get a little more clarity on the rest of our agenda. So I will bring that back up, folks, and moving down the way. Standing committee reports, Finance and IT, Trustee McLaughlin.
I will have the usual list of payroll and accounts payable for approval next week, and that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Next, we had the Fire Committee report, Trustee Murphy.
We have Chief Szynski to discuss alternative to the annual open house for the fire department.
All right. Thank you, Trustee. So in the past, we've always had a physical open house at our fire station 2. We've been very successful. Last year, we estimated about 650 people there. With the world we're living in this year, we went back and forth and try to logistically find to make something work with, physical presence, but it's too hard to be able to do that. So one of the alternatives that's out there is having what they call the reverse drive-by, if you will, is where we hand out informational bags. So we're still going to do the event from 1 to 3:30 on October 10th, or until we run out of bags, whichever comes first. And we're going to have families come by, and they will be able to pick a family bag up, plus one for every additional child that they have. So the family bag will have masks, will have sanitizer, a hand sanitizer, have fire prevention materials, and then the child's bag will have some giveaways also that pertains to childs themselves. So that's what the plan is. We're going to be organizing it so they drive through Station 2. It's one way in, one way out. So they'll come in on 120th, they'll exit on the west end of the driveway and go back to Lockwood to exit out of that area. So we're going to work up a couple contingencies. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what traffic's going to look like, especially around Trustee Zielinski's house. So I apologize in advance. We don't know what it's going to look like. Hopefully it's successful. Hopefully we do a good job and keep everybody moving. So it's just going to be interesting. Nobody's done it yet. It's too early to see how effective it is. We're working on the flyer right now. Other things we're doing is this Saturday they're going to be taping several videos Lieutenant Kraus and Charlie Harding, our public education coordinators. So they're going to be doing a video on stove fires, how to extinguish your stove that's on fire for different methods, what to use and what not to use. Demonstration of using a fire extinguisher, testing your smoke detector, your carbon monoxide detector. They're going to do a home escape in the event you have smoke or fire in your house, so they're going to be using our safety trailer for that. So those will be released out the first week of October. The other thing that we normally do at our open house is usually the side-by-side burn with the sprinkler fitters. We are going to shoot a video on the 15th. We're going to expand it, compare what we normally do. We're going to add a couple other features in it. A is to show what happens when you leave your bedroom door open. And the second part of that is a hollow core door versus a solid core door for your bedroom as well, and showing what the differences are, especially in unprotected homes. So nobody's done that video yet or anything like that, so that will be the first ones, and we're working with Northern Illinois Sprinkler Alliance as well as Local 281. So they're footing the bill for all the material for it. Mark from South Lane is going to be shooting the video for both our pub ed releases as well as that. So it should be a good event, and again, just trying to find alternative ways. Every year during the school year, we usually do an annual poster contest with everybody doing Zoom right now and potentially doing hybrid in the near future, depends on what happens on Thursday. We decided to forego the poster contest. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to raffle off a ride to school on the fire engine, just like we do with our poster contest. So if they do return to school, there'll be one winner from each school. They'll give them a ride to school on the fire engine like we've done in the past. So we figure that's probably about the best we can do. There's a lot of places that aren't doing anything. We need to do something. We still got to promote fire safety. So looking forward to the challenge and see how well it works. And if anything happens like this in the future, at least we have ways to work around it, if you will. So,
In the event of a tie for somebody to ride on the fire engine, I'll volunteer to take one for the team.
okay, sounds good.
If you need any help putting those bags together for the families, you can let me
Okay,
know.
yeah, we're going to start the 6th, 7th, and 8th next week. It's mostly our shifts are going to do it, but I'll mention now, let you know if you want to come out. They'd well appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. It sounds like a great event, yeah, too. I mean, I appreciate your effort on that.
Trying to be creative and still make it work at the same time. So, especially, I mean, everybody's all zoomed out, so doing it virtual, I mean, everybody's tired of Zoom with kids and everything else. And, I mean, I know we're all tired of being zoomed out as well, so.
Get on one with like 40 kids like I did today, and every so often somebody hit their mute button and stuff then too, and they want to chirp in real quick, so yeah.
Yeah, or you hear somebody's phone in the background or stuff like that, yeah.
I tell you, the first couple I did with Lori Lightfoot, I told you guys that when this COVID thing first set in, I'm on the phone with like 200 mayors on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock, and you could hear somebody like ordering dinner and stuff like that, and it's like, come on, don't you people know how to work these things already?
Still happens. Still happens.
Thank you. Trustee Murphy?
We have the Alsip Fire Department would like to thank Matt Wheel for allowing the fire department to use Ed's lawnmower building for training. And we also have a discussion for a search dog for ILUSARTF-1.
Right. I'll go back to Ed's lawnmower first. So, very fortunate. Matt seems like a really good guy. I haven't met him in person, talked to him on the phone a bunch of times. We're extremely appreciative that he's letting us use that building. The building has been vacant for 3 years, roughly around that. It is a perfect building for us to do live fire training and all other kinds of training. We don't get live buildings all the time. Everybody's used to our tower, so again, training is the backbone of what we do and hone our profession, if you will. So we started using the building about 2 weeks ago, and we're planning on using it probably all the way through October when the building comes down. So we have a training plan every week with it. We have a new firefighter that we believe will be starting around the 19th. We're going to use that building for his training. We're going to be using it for our next acting officer class. So a lot of things going on. The mayor's been there a couple of times for some of our trainings as well. But yeah, it's awesome for them to allow us to use that building. They don't have to, and very appreciative that He's doing it, and he's supposed to come out Thursday and bring some food for us also. So
Yeah,
we'll get a pre-taste of what's going to come out there in the near future. So looking forward to it. All right, last item, Lieutenant Kraus is one of our firefighters. He's on the Illinois USAR team, which is a urban search and rescue team. He's been a member of the team for the last, I think, 3 or 4 years. He's now on the rescue side. They're looking to enhance their capabilities of rescue dogs and search dogs. So they kind of approached him and asked him if he'd be willing to do that. Providing that, obviously, we'd be willing to take that on as well. So I'm just, and I apologize for reading off my phone. I thought I had it in the package, but when I looked through my information before, I didn't, and I will send this to you as well. So I'm just going to go over an overview, and we'll go on from discussion for there, or else I can have Lieutenant Kraus come in and talk about it some more. So again, they're looking to enhance the capabilities of the USAR team. It's mainly an Illinois team. That's what it's designed for, so any type of major disasters in Illinois. So first it says Lieutenant Kraus would purchase the dog. The task force would pay for any vet care and supplies. Trainings is normally on Wednesdays. If it's on shift, obviously you won't be able to go. And the trainings that he does go is reimbursable. So all of his training right now is reimbursable by Illinois Task Force. So we do get reimbursed for that as well as the overtime that's used to cover him. They just built a new training facility in West Chicago that has a different pile, so that's where the training takes place on the Wednesdays. The dog would fill the last required spot for the team as well. Rick's also been trained. They send him down to Kentucky for, I think, a 3-day training in ALS dog care. So he would also have a care bag to take care of his dog as well as Knox in case needed. The supply bag comes with both IVs, drugs, and intubation. So he had to go to school for several days for that as well. The dog would be local asset for us. The dog would be trained in search and rescue, also tracking. It would be great if we have a lost child or a senior. And then the dog would also be used as a great public education tool, and we see that a lot with Knox as well. Lastly, Rick did talk to his shift, so his shift is open to it as well. Obviously, the dog would have to come with him to work, and if he's deployed in the state, it's not an automatic deployment. We have the final say if he does go or not. So there's been 3 deployments. Rick was on a hurricane down in North Carolina a couple years ago. They've been 3 or 4 other deployments since then. We have not sent them, so it's our discretion when it comes up. It's not an automatic that he goes. It's our discretion that he goes or not. So we do look at that. We look at the time frame and a lot of other aspects with it as well. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Like I said, he asked me to bring it up a while ago, and I figured now's the time to do that, and I can always have him come back and talk about it some more. So any questions at all?
Chief, I was actually making some notes. If I missed it, I apologize, but is this dog going to be staying with one of our firemen then, too?
It'll stay with Rick at Rick's house, and then he'll bring it to the station when he's on shift.
Gotcha. And is there going to be any, I know you said you made some provisions for, reimbursement for medical and things like that, but is this going to create a lot of extra overtime where maybe he's got to take the dog for regular training, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, any regular training is reimbursable to us, so if it is off shift, we do get reimbursed for it, just like we do with his rescue training right now.
Okay.
Is it the Dalmatian?
No, I don't believe so, no. Most of them, I believe, are Labradors, if I'm not mistaken.
I was just going to ask the same question. What kind of dog?
Yeah, I believe they're Labradors.
Okay.
So, and I think they were trying to get 6 in the state of Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. So.
And again, any cost to the taxpayer?
No, and that's one of the things I did talk to him about as well. So, and again, if it gets to be a burden, we can say we're done with it. So we have that option of being able to do that.
Much was the same case when we got Knox with the police department. Obviously, he was using he was using vehicle seizure money and stuff like that
Correct.
too, but no cost to the taxpayer.
Right, and this is all part of USAR, so it's all part of USAR's package, and it's all funded by USAR as well as FEMA, so.
Okay.
And USAR is Urban Search and Rescue.
Correct. Yep.
Thank you.
I know. That's the other thing. I was writing that down too with all the acronyms for everything. That was
Oh, yeah, there's always that. But yeah, government, there's all kinds of acronyms.
Matt Weil is a very good man, and again, that's going to be the owner of the new Firewater Barbecue and Brew that's going to get built at 117th and Pulaski. We're exchanging emails today with our attorney, Joe Kankar, and right now we're doing title commitments and whatnot to set up a closing date for everything that's been done on his end, because he's the new buyer of the property, and he wants to put shovels in the ground almost as soon as possible. We had his banker on the phone from St. Louis today, and things are looking real good with that location. So,
Right.
yeah, we thank him. So he's talking about bringing out some barbecue for you and the guys and stuff, and ladies, too.
So
Okay.
it's going to be good, right? I know, when I talked to him on Thursday, I don't know if he's reached out to NICOR, because I know that's the biggest hang up with EDCA right now is
We did.
NICOR, and they're about 30 days in advance, and plus Cook County.
We did it today. We made a payment to
Okay.
NICOR. We're looking to tear down the EDCA properties and EDCA.
Right.
And, I'm sorry, EDCA properties and Ed's Lawnmower, rather. And we actually did make a payment to NICOR today to get the utilities disconnected
Okay.
finally. And ComEd, Roger, we still need to...
It's done. Yeah,
They're
they're
done.
done.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
and they also disconnected the power lines on Ed's Lawnmower. They did it at the same time for us, so.
Okay, good. So we've got all of our permits, and they're going to start demolition of the EDCA properties. When, Raj? Like,
As soon as NICOR does the disconnection,
Right.
he's got the machinery out there.
as soon as...
He can't move forward until NICOR is disconnected.
I just want to repeat you because you're not on the mic, but so the public sees this or on tape. But building commissioner says as soon as NICOR makes the disconnect, then we'll start tearing down those properties then too. So,
We
good.
figure about the same way as Lauren, probably the end of October.
Okay.
So I think we're guessing that right around now, so.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Stasinski? No? Okay. Police and traffic safety, Trustee Dalzell.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Work and Boat Launch, Trustee Juarez.
No report.
Water and Sewer and Water, Trustee Nava Esparza.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Okay. Trustee, we did last, Friday, I think it might have been, we did sign off on, I know we awarded the, those fire service connections for the new water main on Springfield and Pulaski, so that's supposed to be getting done. And Danny Tribin, he's not here this evening, but wasn't happy with the street repair, when they cut the street to put the water mains in, he wasn't happy with the way that they fixed the street. So we're actually challenging payment right now until that street's fixed to our liking and stuff then too, because they made certain cuts down the street, and I appreciate Dan stepping up to say that it wasn't sufficient. So we're going to have them either, take it up or redo it or whatever it takes. We're going to fix Springfield Street real well. It's going to look great when it's done. Next, the Building and Health, Trustee Zelinski.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Okay. Trustee, I'm almost done too. I wanted to do this a few months back, but I'm putting together a spreadsheet right now, looking at building permit fees. Right now, those haven't been adjusted in a long time, so we need to look at those and stuff. I spoke to the board about this a few months back, and I should have that ready real soon.
Thank you.
Next, Human Resource and Insurance.
No report,
Trustee
Mayor.
Murphy, sorry. Trustee, we, just so, and for the board's knowledge too, we actually got our third application for finance director today, and we're starting tomorrow. HR and I are going to start speaking with potential candidates, and we'll bring them to the board as soon as we can narrow that field a little bit and stuff then too. There's some really good candidates that applied for that job so far. Special Committee Reports, Economic Development, Trustee Nava Esparza.
I'll reserve my updates later in the agenda on item 7.
Okay. Village Properties, Trustee McLaurin.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Okay. Ordinance and Legislation, Trustee Zelinski.
Yes, I see on here there's a discussion of an ordinance establishing compensation and rate of pay for elected officials of the Village of Alsip.
Mayor, that's an item that I had brought forth during budget discussions
Okay.
and salary comments. Passed out to the board members packet that contains the history for the mayoral and trustee salary history that dates back from 2004 present. A salary of a local mayor and liquor commissioner for surrounding municipalities, as well as just a village manager or administrator for those communities that have that type of government. Next page is comparable for the trustee salaries. Page after is a example of what Evergreen Park did with regards to a incremental increase over those years. Next page is a copy of the current salary ordinance, and then the final ones are the examples of the one that would be proposed. In the discussions that I had prior, talked about the also mayor's salary. It's presently $75,000. Hadn't been increased in the last 7 years. We always, or we don't always, but based on state law, the salaries for elected officials cannot be changed during the current term, and any salary increases have to go into effect for the next municipal election. And the only change that I had proposed in there was the one for the mayor's office, the trustee salaries, and the clerk salary. I had suggested to leave alone.
Is there a reason why that the mayor's salary was to have an increase and no one else's?
Pardon me?
Was there a reason why you had the mayor's salary increases and no one else?
Yeah, I just felt that the present salaries for the clerk and for the trustees were adequate for that which we do. If you feel otherwise, then certainly I'd entertain the comments. Or
Well, I ask especially you, and I'd actually like to ask the mayor as well. I believe it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago maybe. It was Trustee Ryan at the time, Trustee Dalzell, Trustee McGreal, and Trustee Quinn that insisted that the salary for the mayor be decreased as well as everybody else's.
that was 7 years ago.
Yeah, it was
That-
2012.
That was 7 years ago.
2012.
Okay.
2012.
You wanted it decreased to $75,000 for a mayor's salary. What changed?
You can speak first. Go ahead.
I mean, you might, you go ahead and speak, but I mean, I'd like to hear it from you because
Absolutely.
obviously you're the mayor and,
Sure.
well, you would probably know better than
Sure.
one of us out here, but go ahead.
At the time, the salary for the mayor had grown to almost $100,000.
Okay.
And based upon things that were going on, some of the concerns for the expenses to the village, it just seemed more appropriate at that point in time to diminish compensation. And we diminished not only the compensation, but we also removed health benefits for the elected officials as well.
With the
Sit there
exception of the mayor.
well, because the mayor was
Right, I
full-time.
understand, but-
And then
No, it's still-
that's an arbitrary term because there is no such thing as full or part-time for an elected official.
Correct.
But the Alsip mayor has been, in essence, a 40-hour-a-week job. So that was maintained
Correct.
because that's the position. So it just seems that the salary of other employees in the community, this community, have increased over that period of time, and the mayor's hasn't. So this isn't a salary for John Ryan. This is a salary for whomever the elected mayor is.
Well, I understand. I didn't point out anybody in particular.
I'm just
Simply
clarifying that thing,
So-
make sure that it's not ambiguous.
So we had a salary ordinance that we're going to be approving later on this evening for other employees of this village.
We're correcting a salary.
We are correcting a salary, but generally, the increase was 2.5%.
Yes.
And now we're proposing for the next mayor, which is going to be seated in the next 6 months, 13.5% raise with additional 2.5% raises following.
Right.
Who pays
Look
for
at
that?
retrospect, though, this goes back 7 years. And over that 7 years, there's been an increase for all of the employees employed by the Village of Alsip.
Okay. And you think that at the time, 7 years ago, was a good time to cut it, but this time with
This
the
is still
COVID
well below what that salary is, trustee.
Okay. But let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay,
All right. First of all, we all got elected knowing exactly what we're walking into.
absolutely.
We accepted that job, this position, at that current level. But now you think it's a good time to bring this up for this type of raise during a pandemic when we've reduced our budget by millions of dollars. We have less sales taxes coming in. We have a lot of the village out of work, people that have been furloughed. These are the taxpayers that are going to be paying the salary because it's coming out of general fund. And you're going to ask them to increase our salaries, or, I'm sorry, not our salaries. It's written on the agenda as in for elected officials, but it's actually for an elected official.
Right, that's the title of the ordinance, trustee.
So this is a good time to do this?
Well, let me ask you a question. You just approved salaries for almost 158 employees this year. What's the difference? You approved salaries increases.
That was 2.5%.
Okay, but you approved salary increases for 158 people this year, with the exception of one office being mine. Okay, so where, like you said, it's a pandemic. How does that happen? You know, I mean, let's be fair. We look. I was the one. Actually, it's the first time in Bill. I'll make a statement here, but let's put it this way: what Trustee Dalzell just distributed that the public can't see from your seats or online is 15 years ago when my predecessor came in office. He came in 2005 earning $79,000 a year. Within 8 years, he was getting salary increases. So in 2013, I'm sorry, the 2012 ordinance, which ended in 2013, had him paid at $98,133. So he received almost $20,000 in increases over 8 years. Okay? And the reason that we reduced the salary after that is you're at almost $100,000. And personally at the time, I wasn't even elected at the time. I had just gotten elected in 2011. I was unhappy with the performance. I didn't think that, basically from a taxpayer standpoint, that we were getting a good shake for the dollar. And basically, I was part of the board majority that agreed. So this is why we reduced the pay for the position at the time. My position, I won't speak for anybody else. I'll just speak for myself. But now, when you look at comparables, okay, for other full-time mayors in the area, now, you got to be fair about the conversation.
Of course.
Evergreen Park. He's doing a great job, Jim Sexton over there. He's getting $117,600 for being mayor, plus an extra $10,000 for being liquor commissioner. So he's at $127,000 a year, plus he gets an extra 2% per year increase. Chicago Ridge mayor, $111,768 for being mayor, liquor commissioner another $12,000. He gets $123,768 a year. Markham mayor, Country Club Hills, $115,000 plus a village vehicle. Markham mayor gets $96,815. Burbank, $100,000 for being mayor, another $26,309 for being liquor commissioner. So he's at $126,309. Linwood mayor, $86,000 plus another $4,800 for being liquor commissioner. So he's at $91,400 plus a village vehicle. Calumet City mayor, she gets $94,000 plus a $700 a month expense account, plus a $500 a month liquor commissioner So her money actually is plus annual increases, so she's making a 108 plus. Even the Crestwood mayor, he's getting $50,000 and another 15 for being liquor commissioner. So again, these are just examples of what other full-time mayors are doing in our area.
I understand, but the thing is, if you look hard enough, you could find mayors that are making even more with
Could be, I just took
with
the local
communities
guys
that
around here.
have larger populations, more income.
Okay.
I mean, let's be fair and just talk about what's in
Okay.
our own boardroom.
So, all right, let's be fair about the conversation.
Yes,
So,
you and Trustee Dalzell and the other two trustees tried to bring, not only brought the previous mayor's salary down because you thought they weren't doing the...
Incorrect.
They were doing things incorrectly. Okay.
Incorrect.
So you
No.
probably, it doesn't matter...
That's not what he's saying.
That's not what I said at all. We did not reduce his salary. We reduced the position's salary.
Okay, but you did it 7 years ago during his term. Okay.
As you always have to
Okay.
by state law.
So you did that, not knowing who the next mayor was.
Correct.
So
True.
you're the next mayor. Now, what is the increase for, number one? And you tried to reduce it to $35,000. So
No,
right
we
now,
never proposed that.
Really?
This sh- You know what, well, here, let me, in all fairness, like you said, what have I done? Okay, so
above and beyond.
Okay, so I've facilitated over $90 million in investments in this village over the past 3 years, where my office personally met with all potential investors and engaged the affected department heads to welcome and give a roundtable review and request that these investors hopefully invest in our community. Then make every effort to accommodate the construction and permit process, including my intervention with the Planning and Zoning Commissions on many occasions so that they can best interpret what's at issue and help them to see a vision that I'm in favor of so the project happens on time and without any interference by the village. I've also identified and recommended ideas to create additional revenues to this village board, and you folks are good enough to have been approving it, to have approved those ideas. First one, I promoted the use of more liquor licenses that brought in more businesses with it, like restaurants, cafes, which obviously, but the state allows video gaming. That brought in $311,000 last year. We instituted a 6B tax incentive renewal service fee that generated over $400,000 for the past 2 years. Billboard leasing brought in an extra $24,000 annually. Video gaming and gas stations where new construction is taking place to improve the appearance of the businesses, then they have to purchase a $7,500 license, then we collect tax on the usage of the video games then too. We adjusted the simplified telecommunication tax so that suppliers, not the customers, pay for having access to communication within Alsip. Next year, that's going to start bringing in an extra $240,000. We also reduced the distance for cannabis cultivation from 2,500 feet from designated locations to 1,000 feet, thus giving investors more opportunity to utilize available industrial properties. I've turned away 4 investors so far, and I thank the board for taking that action recently. I've also worked with the former finance director to pay cash for certain equipment over the last few years, is to reduce installment payments and buy a $250,000 ambulance, a $375,000 vacuum truck for Public Works, a $125,000 backhoe, a $385,000 front end loader, and then we drafted a policy and approved a policy to pay down a $120 million unfunded retirement debt that puts $4.2 million against annually until 2040 to be responsible for our debts and protect our credit rating. Then a couple of weeks ago, we just added 3 cents a gallon to all the gasoline sold in the village as a tax to meet a $650,000 public safety pension obligation. Otherwise, we would have had to add a 4.9% tax levy to the property taxes before we even considered operation costs. So we put that on motorists coming through towns. I build 90% of all of your weekly agendas. I offer full reports at every single meeting and treat all the trustees fairly. I give talking points to all the trustees and to demonstrate full transparency. In 2018, the board approved a $1.8 million deficit budget because of the 911 consolidation, and we had multiple retirement buyouts that year. Then last year, in 2019, we saw the general fund balance for the first time in years. This year, I recommended a $2.4 million reduction in the village budget due to anticipated reduction in COVID revenue, and all departments assisted my request to build a mayor's disaster budget that you folks approved. I implemented an employee engagement, otherwise most folks know this as an employee review, for non-union personnel that had never been done in this village before. I also promoted a new broker of record for village healthcare, and Alliant Mesero has saved us substantial money by having them on board. I promote our request for proposals, for everything to promote competitive pricing for village services and save money on garbage collection. We're saving almost $269,000 over the course of that contract. Auditing, we're going to save $141,000 over the next 5 years. When we purchase electricity and natural gas for village use, we're saving $35,000 annually. And for the first time in village history, we shopped the insurance and changed brokers, and we saved so far almost $167,000. And finally, I evaluated and advocated for salaries for village personnel, all the village non-union personnel, and tonight I'm asking for the same consideration, especially when this board voted unanimously to approve raises this year for over 150 employees except myself. I think it's a fair argument. I could keep running, but I think that's enough.
The only issue, per se, is the fact that we cannot set a salary for John Ryan.
That's fine.
I mean, we have to set a salary for whoever the mayor is in the upcoming election. And as much as I love you, John, and love the work that you've done, we have to step back a little bit and remember that we can't give John Ryan a job. We have a pay raise. We have to set the salary for the position.
The mayor makes less money than I pay for him.
And is it now? On top of all of that, though, I would like to say that, yes, for a position to have not gotten a raise in over 8 years, that's a little bit long. Probably the salary should have been raised at some point over that time. Also, I can say that there are 74 employees in the village that make more money than the mayor. That's definitely out of line. The mayor should not be that far down on the totem pole, especially when it's a full-time mayor position. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying very hard to balance and come to a conclusion in terms of what is the right number. That's where I'm stuck on this.
And that's understandable, but I personally don't even know how this conversation can be considered with all the people that are laid off in town. Due to COVID, there's a lot of people laid off. And we want this raise, we want the taxpayers to pay for this raise, and it's ridiculous.
So, Trustee, you just approved raises this year for over
And what was my
150
comment?
employees, and you approved it, you voted yes.
Okay, I understand
So for
that, but what did I
150
say
people-
during that meeting? What did I say during that meeting? I felt that I was being pressured into saying yes because I was kept sitting here.
Who pressured
Because
you?
I said in the beginning of the meeting, no. I voted no to the raises. So don't say who pressured me. I voted no to the raises. I was very blunt in the beginning what I was voting no to, but I continued to sit here about 45 minutes to an hour going back and forth with everyone, and my answer was still no. And I said out loud, I feel like I'm being pressured, or I feel I'm like being coerced to say yes so I can leave. And Trustee Dizelle told me I could leave. You can leave whenever you want. So I said no from the beginning. I don't know how we can give raises, continue to give raises, and people are laid off. They're not working. COVID's hit them hard.
You said I've been here for 45 minutes, and I remember that conversation. You said, I had my mind made up when I got here. I don't know why I'm still here. And that was during a committee meeting, and the trustee
And I
said, well,
also
you
said
can
I
leave.
was still sitting here because I felt that the meeting wasn't going to end until I changed my mind to yes.
Well, didn't you think that conversation was important to the 150, well, in this case, it was 21
Of course it
non-union
is,
employees?
but at this time, it's not because taxpayers cannot afford it.
But you voted yes to it. You didn't vote no.
Taxpayers cannot afford it.
Trustee, you're entitled to your opinion. That's our First Amendment right, okay? But when you're sitting on this board and measures are put in front of you for discussion like this is where we all stand up.
Maybe if we still had red light cameras revenue, we'd be able to do it, but we don't because of your actions.
Trustee, my actions
No,
have not,
Mayor.
you took action, and you actually voted to take no action on red light cameras. We've got that on record. I mean, this whole board voted unanimously not to take, and definitely not to take any action on red light cameras. And I'm sure if I took a tally or a vote who's missing red light cameras right now? I think I can answer for everybody and stuff then, too. So that was never revenue, and actually I approached the police department a few months ago to ask if they wanted to revisit that conversation, and they said no. They said, we average 1,100 to 1,200 accidents a year. We only had 850 accidents last year, which we feel terrible for those 850 situations, but I don't even have the data to have that kind of discussion, so I'm not. Unless you folks, anybody want to bring it up? Anybody want to go back to red light cameras? You're here for that. Yeah, I'm only a tiebreaker, but I'm all yours if anybody wants to have that conversation.
Mayor, you are
I guess
definitely
not.
a politician and not an essential worker.
I'm not a politician. I work for the taxpayer.
Excuse me?
I work, sir, you got to hold on to
Excuse
a
me,
public
sir?
forum,
Who the
okay?
hell am I?
We have to wait, sir, until a public
Calm
forum.
down, everybody.
Excuse me.
Excuse me?
Excuse me.
Okay, come
Folks, we have to,
Again.
sir, you have to wait for a public
No,
forum,
he
you
needs to
know?
be dismissed. He needs to be removed.
You have to wait your turn, sir, at public forum, or when we do the forum. We'll do that next, okay? I just knew there would probably be questions. That's why I wanted to let you folks hear a conversation first, okay? So please hold on to your
Once again,
comments.
the mayor's letting me be disrespected by public audience. This is not the first time that has happened.
I just got control of the board for you, or
Okay.
the room, I should say. So anyway, go ahead, trustee.
Going back to your, the sheet that you just read from,
Yeah.
with all the things that were accomplished during
Sure.
this
With your help.
term,
Yeah.
I'd say half of them at least were with the board's help.
Okay, my ideas I brought to you, folks.
And you did, you gave us, the proper, consideration for that as well. But basically what I heard from you reading off that paper is you did your job. That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, but it doesn't justify a 13.5% raise. We approved a 2.5% raise for everybody else in the village. Why not ask for something like that?
1 year, though. Year.
Of course.
2.5% for 1 year.
I understand that.
He's been on the mayor for 4 years.
So that only comes to 10%.
Again, he knew what he was going for. You knew you were coming in to make $10,000 a year. You did it.
I'm not complaining about my pay.
I'm not getting
None of us are
retroactive
complaining
either.
about our pay. But I can't understand why.
I'm sorry, I have to be retained first. I hope to be retained in April. If I'm not, we're talking about somebody else, as Trustee McGlohan just pointed out.
Again, nobody's complaining about their pay. Why are we raising a salary so largely when nobody's complaining about a pay raise or an increase?
If I can make a statement in regards to trustee salaries, looking at other comparables that are here, I know Blue Island was given an example, but I think they have like maybe 12 to 14 aldermen. I'm not sure.
They're a larger.
They're a larger body. And I can just speak for myself. I believe the person that held the office before me stepped down, and then I ran for the 2-year seat. But in my first year, I was able to secure a $10,000 census grant. So in essence, it covered my $10,000 salary. And not just that, I also securing additional in-kind donations from the South Suburban Mayors Association in regards to like our newsletter. I think they covered that expense. Also, the billboard that you see, the Alsip Counts billboard on Pulaski, they covered that expense as well. Other giveaways and flyers and so forth. And our census participation in 2010 was 72.4%, and as of today, it's at 74.7%. So every person that's counted in the census is in essence another roughly, approximately, based on what I've seen online in literature, is $1,400 in federal monies that are allocated back into our community. So I feel like I myself, in my first year of office, have proven of what I'm capable of, and it's about, the legacy that, or the bar that we're trying to set, and who knows if I'll be retained in office in the next election, but I hope that increasing the trustee salary, or at least giving the 2% or 2.5%, what we've given other employees, is an incentive for those that are, in my age bracket, 30-year-olds, with young children. I have young children. I've had to hire babysitters to come and watch my children. I've also have out-of-pocket expenses that I've done where I've purchased software to make some of the census flyers and so forth. So I think I've proven that I've given it my all, and it is up to the voters if they decide to retain someone, right? So I would be in favor of a 2% increase for a trustee role.
But the ordinance has nothing to do with the trustee increase.
But if, I know that we were talking about it, and that was what was presented, was what I'm referencing.
And we're not campaigning right now
No, but
either,
that's,
so-
I'm not.
what you brought up the adjustment for trustee, and that's what she said. If you want to entertain it, she'd be up for that.
No, I don't, because
Again, we
the
cannot
whole thing
afford
is,
it.
we've reduced all these actions that you read off on that paper, all these improvements, all these extra incomes we have, yet we still have to reduce the budget $2.5 million.
Well, because we're
Because-
anticipating less revenue.
Exactly.
Right.
So why are we going to give more money away?
But it's also on us as a legislative body to come up with ideas and propose.
And we have. But again, even with those in place, we have an expected deficit coming in. Yet
Trustee,
you want to pay the next mayor even more.
well, like I said, when it came down to handing out pay raises to 158 employees, you didn't have a problem.
2.5%.
It
Why
sounds
won't
like you have a
take
personal
2.5%?
agenda.
Or
Pardon
why
me?
won't we make the next mayor get a 2.5% raise?
You're talking apples and oranges. You keep on
How's that?
referring to 2.5%.
Because that's what we gave them.
That
And
was
that's
the
what
pay
you're...
increase. That was the pay increase given to the non-represented employees for this upcoming year. A single year. You're talking about an ordinance that hasn't been adjusted for 7 years. You're talking about an ordinance that all the way back to 2004 was $79,000. You're talking about increasing it to $85,000. I'm talking about increasing it to $85,000. That was done in 2006, 14 years ago. We're only talking about, and I'm suggesting, raising it to a level that was 14 years ago.
And then you're...
I don't know about you,
But
I'm an
you're
old
al-
man, but 14 years is a long time.
But you're also not just increasing the salary $10,000, which is the 13.6%. You're also advocating for an additional 2.5% yearly increase beyond that.
So that you
Has
can
anybody even calculated that out to see what that's going to be after just one mayoral term?
I know it keeps pace with the other employees, because on average, that's what we've rewarded all the full-time employees.
I mean, this is going to be nearly $70-some thousand additional for one more term. That's like a whole year free of...
$70,000.
For all 4
Yeah.
years.
Over 4 years?
$12,000.
12,000, no, it's 10,000 a year plus 2.5% compounded every single year.
No, it only gets up to like 98 in 8 years. I did do all the math.
98 from 75, that's 23,000.
But again, that's in 2027.
And unless the people in the next administration stop that, it's going to continue to increase. And the taxpayers are going to continue to burden that.
No, and I'm not arguing with you, Mike. I completely agree on the 2.5%. I don't think that should automatically be built in. But
That's all I have, Mayor.
About 91, over 4 years. And still less than what it was, almost $9,000 less than what it was 7 years ago. So,
And I would like to answer what trustee Esparza had mentioned. The trustee
Nava
before...
Esparza.
The trustee before you was Michael Pierce, and I'm great about the stuff that you had to purchase yourself as a trustee. He donated all his monthly earnings from being a trustee to the youth programs. So it felt like a personal attack to trustee, and I just didn't appreciate it. So it's great, all the wonderful things that you did, but Mike Pierce donated all his money to the youth programs.
It wasn't an
Just wanted
attack,
to
it was
make that
just
clear.
making reference.
Just wanted to make that clear.
So please don't put words in my mouth.
Just wanted to make it clear.
okay. Any other questions? Then I'd be happy to open this up to, we can have the public forum now. Did anyone from the public wish to address this board? Come on up, sir.
Before we go too far,
Yes.
Mayor, if you can do me a
Oh.
favor, just kind of give some admonition here that we're civil people, we can have differences of opinion, but no personal attacks.
Thank you. And I was just going to remind everybody, too, and during public forums, please respect like a 3-minute rule we always do for everybody. And this is just a forum. You can certainly make a statement, but you don't necessarily have to engage with everybody, but you're welcome to a statement. Thank you.
My name is Rich Ryan. I've been a 40-year resident of Alsip. 20 years ago, I took over a business that was doing $12 million a year and losing $1 million a year. Last year, we did $60 million and made 15 times what we did 20 years ago. So I know a little something about running a business. And in my business, I pay foremen more than we pay the mayor of Alsip. Okay? In our business, every year we do a salary survey. So we have a firm come in and survey other industries, other businesses, and try to benchmark what we pay people. Similar to what was just done here. The bottom line is the mayor of Alsip position is way the heck underpaid. Okay? Hasn't had a raise in 7 years. If you're going to get, the Oak Lawn, Larry Dietsch was making $165,000 a year before he left. It's underpaid. So you got to approach this like a business. Who's ever in that position, you're not going to get crap for $75,000 a year. Okay? It's a job. It's a full-time job. Takes a lot of work. All this nonsense about, well, you said you're blah, 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 blah. The bottom line, the fact is, the job is underpaid. In order to get talented people, you have to pay a reasonable salary that is benchmarked with other jobs with similar responsibilities. That's what a business does. All this nonsense is nothing but politics. The fact is, if you ran a business, you wouldn't pay the mayor of Alsip $75,000 a year. You wouldn't pay the guy running the business less than 70 other people in the business. So any conversation about, well, you said this and it's the tax. Listen, the taxpayer gets value from somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. My company pays me a hell of a lot more than they paid John Ryan. But guess what? I deliver results year in and year out. Okay? So the voters have a choice every 4 years if the guy's doing the job. So whoever gets the job, you better pay more than $75,000 a year or you're not going to get anybody to do the damn job. This is all politics. It's all politics. End the politics, be grown-ups, act like business people, and make the right choice for this town. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, could you sign in for me, please, for the record? Thank you.
Anybody else? State your name, please, when you come up.
Michael Pierce, 32-year resident of Alsip. You and I have had this conversation, along with Trustee Dalzell, in Trustee Dalzell's backyard. We had this conversation. I think you're underpaid. But I also, kept telling you, yeah, it's politics. You're reaping what you sowed. You guys personally lowered the mayor's salary. And then 18 months ago, not one, but 2 flyers in your election, you touted it, that you lowered the salaries. You were responsible for lowering those salaries, eliminating insurance, lowering trustee salaries. So Mr. Ryan could sit here and say it's not politics, but you guys are the leader of the politics. You guys did it. You guys touted it, and now the 2 of you together are asking to change it because you're on the ballot this time. How is that not politics?
Trustee Dalzell is not on the ballot right now.
He's not, but you are. So it doesn't impact him.
So
he doesn't have to face the voters on this. He doesn't have to face the voters in 2021 and say, oh, yeah, in 2019 I said I lowered it, but now I want to increase it. But you're going to have to face it.
So what's your point?
Trustee Nava-Esparza, Trustee Dalzell, Trustee Murphy, Trustee McLaughlin, you guys all put out that flyer that said, look at us. Look at us as politicians. We lowered this salary. We took care of this.
No, they didn't touch that.
Yes, you
Trustee
did.
Dalzell participated.
2 flyers. I have them if you'd like to see them.
The point being is that was changed back in 2013. They weren't on the board then.
Agreed. I agree.
I
agree.
member.
But you guys were. I wondered why you had a flyer with their names on it. They weren't, as far as I know, you weren't even in Alsip then. But you guys were on the board. You guys did it.
Okay, but I'm going back to what your point.
It's politics. It's politics. You guys played politics, and now you're mad that possibly someone else is playing politics. But at least granted, give me the credit that we have had these conversations. I do think you're underpaid, but I do think it was political what you did to the last mayor. And now, if I was still on the board, I wouldn't have let it wait to this long. I would have tried to give you a raise a year or two ago.
Except we couldn't.
But we couldn't. And now in a pandemic, I also own a business, and I took it from negative to positive. I don't know what that really has what that has to do with, with this. If my business was suffering, I had to take no salary to pay my employees, I probably would. The fact is, and you can't deny it, you've got a hole in the budget. Okay, these other, these workers that you've increased the salaries, the 2.5%. That's the cost of living increase. You're not asking for just 2.5%. You're asking for a salary adjustment plus 2.5% increases. I think you should get 2.5%, but no salary adjustment. No, why? You lowered it. You did it.
Well, as I said, sir, I hope to be retained next year. But more importantly, last night I'm sitting there watching a Packer game, and I took somebody's house, let's just say somebody in our community, and I looked at their tax history for like the last 10 years, because it went back to 07. From 07 until 17, like most of us, we all paid additional money. That person's taxes went up $2,400 over the last 10 years, which averaged almost like $235 a year, okay? Granted, those other taxing bodies are included there, so it's not just village money and that kind of thing, but those taxes went up $235 a year. In the past 3 years, under this administration, that same house, those same taxes, and it's all public knowledge when you hit the Cook County Treasurer's office, only went up $175 over 3 years, which was only a $58 increase per year, as opposed to the $235 a year before I got here, with their help. We're doing something right. We're doing everything possible to stay off the taxpayers' back. I'm the last guy out here every night at 6:30 or so, turning off the lights. I'm going to many meetings at night for networking events and things like that. I'm doing what as the trustee said, I'm doing my job, and I hope to be retained. All we're doing is making a salary adjustment, commensurate with that, and it's still well below what all these other full-time mayors in the area are getting. It's just being fair.
But you should have.
And that's keeping pace with the employees here, too.
But Trustee Nava, as far as and at least you gave them the credit that they're working, towards it too. She asked for the same. She asked for not a salary adjustment. She asked for a raise, and that's fair. I think you guys all should get a raise. I just don't think you should get a salary adjustment because you adjusted the salary down for this job. You could have taken care of this a couple of years ago.
What difference? You can't, nobody's going to get it, and hopefully the voters have the confidence in me, after all the hard work I put into it, to retain me. But again, as Trustee McLaurin pointed out, you can't adjust, and Trustee Dalzell said at the beginning of the conversation, you cannot adjust an elected official's pay while they're in office. So we could have did this 2 years ago, and it wouldn't have made a bit of a difference to anybody, because it doesn't go into effect until next year. So we have this conversation now, and whatever it turns out to be, we hope for the best.
Well, the only thing that I'm in with is, as Trustee Zielinski said, you knew what the salary was going in.
Sure.
That's the salary. I hope you're happy with it, and I hope you continue. I hope you decide to rerun based on that salary. I just don't think you should. In these times, you should ask for a salary adjustment that big. When people aren't getting that kind of salary adjustments, people are getting lucky if they have jobs and are not furloughed right now. If you're not essential, a lot of people are out of work, and there is a hole in your budget. You do not have the revenues that you had just 2 years ago.
So even with the adjustment that you're speaking of, you're talking 13% over the course of and it's not retroactive. This is installed like everybody else. So it's actually like a 3.5% for what you've done. But again, hopefully I need to be retained
But
first.
what you're asking for is basically, I'm stunned. I honestly didn't know that the finance director isn't here anymore. But I'm stunned that you didn't at least come with the numbers to show that what this would cost over the next 4 years, because it's over $50,000. So you're asking for, it is, because, well, for sure, it's more than $50,000.
How is it over 50,000?
Because it's $10,000 each year, so that's $40,000.
No, it's one time.
It's $10,000.
$10,000,
once,
that's it.
but then when you add
Well,
80,
okay,
2.5%.
That increases his salary to $85,000. That's $10,000 plus $10,000 plus $10,000.
No.
John, are you saying that you're taking a one-time $10,000 bonus, or is your salary increasing to $85,000?
It's just a salary adjustment to 85
So
with
that's-
2% increases. It's not 85 every, I mean, it's not
It's 85.
10,000
It's
every year.
85 every year.
No, it's,
It's 10,000 a year compared to where you are right
So
now.
Thank you.
it is over $50,000 over the next 4 years.
no.
Yes, 52,964.
You're not getting $10,000 every year.
85,000 goes to 87,125, then
Right.
goes to 89,303, then goes to 91,536. That totals $352,964 compared to a 4-year $75,000 salary, which is only $300,000.
That's the point everyone's trying to make.
No,
That's
it's
math.
85,000 and 2.5% increases annually.
What is your salary going to be next year? 85,000. The year after, it's 85,000 plus 2.5%. So if your salary is 75,000 now, you have $10,000 in 2021, and then you have that same $10,000, so that equals $20,000.
No.
Yeah. No, I mean, the concept is, the base is 75 right now.
Right.
And if we don't put this in, it's 75, 75, 75, and 75. Like the clerk just said, that comes to $300,000.
Who would pay
over the
that?
next 4 years.
Oh,
That's all.
yeah.
Correct.
At the same time, if we bump it up to 85 now and add those percentages, it's 350,000 for that exact same 4
Okay,
years.
we can do that all day, but that's,
like I
but
said, but
the way
that's
it's
just what his
presented,
point
that
was.
looks like it's a ridiculous
No,
number.
and
and
saying,
stuff.
at first I was confused as well when he said, well, it's $10,000 a year. It's $10,000 once, but it's compounded and you continue to get that $10,000 each year. So it does come to a $50,000 total over 4 years.
Okay, but it's a one-timer, anyway. Did anyone in the audience wish, anybody else, public forum? Mike, you want to say something? Sure. Mike, by the way, I did, after you were here last week, I did reach out to the flea market, and they are going to try and do a better job with smoking near the public and that kind of thing, too, so.
My name is Michael Joniak, and I'm from Alsip. I go to Moraine Valley College for GED, and now I'm just going to save you guys a lot of time because we want to be here like a slumber party here today. Okay, so I'll just go with the Family Dollar Services, Family Dollar Store, 123rd and Pulaski. They have like a stench coming up out of the sewer system there, and it's getting into the store really bad. And I asked the woman there, can she like mop the floor over there? I asked the district people to mop the floor because it's dog seasons, and it says it's really like stenchy in here. And she said, it isn't in our floor, it's coming from the sewers outside. So just that to you guys, look at the Alsip sewer systems. It may intensify, may get worse there, and maybe people might like actually pass out or faint or want to go home and get like digestive problems. And so they just like, they work there, and they brought it to my attention. And since I come here weekly, it's good that I bring it to also your mayor here in the board meeting, and hopefully can like resolve that for them. So.
You know what happens occasionally, Michael, and I could be wrong, public work director, superintendent's here, but sometimes when you do get the sewery smell, a lot of times it's from lack of rainwater and stuff like that, where you're getting what's dried up at the bottom of the sewers, and you're kind of getting, am I correct, Mike? Is that usually why you're getting that smell?
Sometimes too, the smell he's talking about, the floor drains may need to be, have water added to them.
That's what I'm saying. They might be dried out and they're getting that smell. Michael, I appreciate you. Now, where'd you say by, I hate to out loud, but you said, right, Family Dollar was doing it?
Yeah.
I can certainly have building department Raj, can we reach out to them and let them know? Okay.
We'll inspect.
And double check the sewer. Thank you, Michael. All right. Thanks, Mr. Joniak. I appreciate it.
Could you sign in again, sir, please?
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? All right, well, thanks, folks. I appreciate your comments. Let's finish up our meeting then. Planning and zoning and licenses, Trustee Juarez.
I have a presentation of a list of license dated September 14th through September 28th, 2020.
Okay, thank you. Next, the presentations, petitions, and communications, Trustee Nava-Esparza.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to make a statement in regards to census outreach efforts that I'm leading for the Alsip Complete Count Committee. Just some updates in regards to changes in the deadline. A federal judge has ordered a continuation of data collection for the 2020 census to October 31st, 2020. Currently, only 4 states have met the standard to close the counting process. With less than a week away from the earlier changed deadline of September 30th, 2020, the extension could allow for a more complete, accurate, and a fair count of all communities. However, this decision is expected to be appealed by the Department of Justice. The twists and turns of the 2020 census are not yet complete. We will update you as we know more. This means the work is not done. Continue your excellent engagement to get Alsip counted. So I want to thank everyone that has helped and partnered in these efforts to pass out census flyers, to pass out census masks, literature, also the support of the South River Mayors and Managers Association with their in-kind donations and support. And as I mentioned earlier, the Alsip self-response rate was 72.4%, and currently we're at 74.7%. So we've already are up 2 percentage points from our previous count. Again, the census is important. It determines funding for the next 10 years, and you can still complete the census online or via phone if you still haven't done so. Thank you.
Trustee Nava-Esparza, will there be literature available at the event?
On the 3rd?
On the 3rd?
I can bring some. I have flyers that SSMMA provided.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I actually also wanted to add real quick, today I did, trustees, just so you know, I did receive a resignation letter today from one of the planning and zoning, police and fire commissioners. He's actually relocating to another village. You have to be a resident to be on the police and fire commission, so I'm going to be entertaining the idea of getting another representative on that police and fire commission. So, and then also last Friday night, I attended a really nice event, and folks, take advantage of this if you ever have the need. I was at the Health on Earth grand opening. That's the gentleman that put together that Grand Plaza building at 11933 South Pulaski. Really well professionally done. Dr. Vaught, Frank Vaught, great guy. He actually had some Chicago Bear, a retired Chicago Bear player there. He had David Terrell was there. David's one of his clients, and I talked to him. He's an entrepreneur right now, and he's entertaining the idea of possibly bringing something to Alsip as well too. We had a real nice conversation. And don't you hate that? I'm probably one of the biggest Bear fans in the area and stuff then too. And when I looked at him, he said his name really quick, and it took me a second to catch it and stuff. But David Terrell, a great ball player back in the day too.
I really wanted to go, but we were doing physical inventory this weekend, and I worked until 1 a.m.
I told Dr. Thank you, but I told Dr. Vaught certainly I'd be happy to facilitate some introductions for him for some of the different corporations in our town. And he's got he's got X-ray machines, he's got everything for a chiropractor practice that he's got there. But the place is beautiful, and the retail units on either side of him really look nice. And upstairs he's got 3 or 4 apartments yet too. But Roger, everybody, as much as you can really bust everybody's chops when they're doing work, his contractor really thinks the world of you and stuff there too, So, I go, you're kidding. He goes, no, it was Roger's pretty hard on everybody. I'm like, man, you'll get over it, all for the right reasons. And it came out looking really nice. And again, thank you to you, Public Works and Water Department. We identified some stuff infrastructure-wise on our side that the board was willing to replace that water main out in front to help facilitate an emergency at the Jewel and things like that. So everything shook out really good. So, everybody had really nice things to say about everybody, so it was good. So then, any unfinished business? Any new business? Then can I get a motion to adjourn this committee meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Let's adjourn this meeting at 8:44, and we'll start the...
Can I have 2 minutes, Mayor?
Yeah. And we'll start the next meeting in 2 minutes.